All right, we're going to start back up. So anybody walking around who wants to come back into the audience, come on down. We've got Sportline CEO Brian Rees here. How many of you have customized your Teslas? Anyone customize their Teslas? I think they're all over there customizing them. So we're going to talk about how to safely and tastefully customize your Tesla. Brian, take it away.
Okay, thanks. All right, everybody, thanks for coming to the presentation today. Looking forward to walking through some of these details. Let me start real quick with who Sportline is. So we were founded in 2013, way back in the beginning with Tesla. And we focus on Tesla. So we make everything that's designed and engineered specifically for Teslas. And we, as Sportline, are all Tesla owners. So very authentic products. And our mission is simple. We want to make meaningful and reliable upgrades for Teslas. In 2022, we actually started 2 more brands to serve the emerging EV space. So we also have One EV and EV Sportline, which focuses on other products like for the Rivian, for the Porsche Taycan, for Lightnings, Mach-E's, etc. So real quick about me, like I said, I'm an authentic Tesla owner. These are my 2 rides right here. I've got a Plaid and a Model Y, very similar to what we have in our booth over there today. So the first topic I want to go through is wheels and tires for Teslas. And I tried to think about what are the top 10 most important aspects about wheels and tires for Teslas. We're going to run through these today. So these are all details that are good considerations when you're thinking about aftermarket wheels or tires for upgrading your Tesla. So first, I want to talk about hub centering versus lug centering. And if you think about the wheel on the car, it centers up, it's supposed to center up on the hub of the axle. And if you have a wheel from Tesla, they center up on the hub of the axle. If you buy an aftermarket wheel, you want to get another wheel that aligns to the hub of the axle. The challenge or the risk you have in the aftermarket is a lot of people make wheels that are like general fitment. They might fit BMWs, they might fit Teslas, and they make an oversized hub because all these different vehicles have different diameter hubs. So they either expect you to use a hub ring adapter, or without the hub adapter, let the lug nuts center up the wheel. So we got a couple examples here. I don't know if you could see that real well, but the factory Tesla, you're centering the wheel on the hub right here in the middle. The generic aftermarket wheels, you might have a big hub here, and it relies on the lug nuts to center it. So what happens is they don't really center. It's not a perfect science if you're not on the hub. So the wheel might be a little bit out of round on the center, and that puts stress on lug nuts. You can break lug nuts. You can have a wheel off. So it's highly not recommended. The other thing I show in this picture is on the factory Tesla wheels, they have these little water extraction ports. So any moisture or water in there can exit from the hub. A lot of aftermarket wheels don't have those, and you end up having water collect in there, and it can corrode the hubs in the wheels. So we've got a picture here on the left and the right. This is actually just showing you from our product, from Sportline perspective. We do the same design as Tesla. So all of our wheels are hub centric. We never do lug centering. We never use hub rings, and we also have the same water extraction ports. Okay. Lug nuts is another one. So Teslas are heavy cars. They make a lot of torque. They have regenerating brake forces on the wheels and tires. So there are forces on the wheels that are probably higher stress than you would have in a lot of other cars. And the lug nuts, you can see on the right, this is a factory Tesla lug nut. And then this is a more generic, more typical aftermarket lug nut. The one thing I want to point out is, see how big the cone is on the factory Tesla lug nut? That's actually the part that engages in the wheel. And it's quite a wide, large surface area for torquing on the wheel. When you go to some aftermarket wheels, that come with lug nuts or the generic skinny lug nuts, you can see how much smaller the contact area is. So that the force that's clamping that wheel to the hub is reduced. It's not something we recommend. So I've got up over here 3 things. One is you can use aftermarket lug nuts, but you want to get some that are designed specifically for the Tesla, so they have the right width and surface area on that flange. Then I talked about the wheel load rating. So again, the Tesla is heavy, makes a lot of torque, and there's a load rating that is recommended. There's an agency called TUV, which is in Europe. It's a European standard for safety, and they publish a load rating specification for each of the Tesla models. And I've got them listed up there. For Model 3, it's 1,433 pounds. Model Y, it's 1,653 pounds. S is 1,980 pounds, and X is 1,980. This is really a big differentiator because a lot of aftermarket wheels, in particular as you get lighter weight wheels, are designed for lighter cars. Maybe they're racing or smaller cars. You put that wheel on a Tesla, you run the risk of cracking the wheel, you run the risk of bending the wheel when you hit a pothole or something. So there's a good reason for the load specification. We only recommend running wheels that have an actual load rating for the Tesla. Same with the tires. So I've listed all the, it depends on the size, but the tire rating for a Tesla is important for the same safety reasons. So this is just an example. When you're shopping wheels, I would recommend look for a company, a reputable company that can tell you they've done FEA analysis on the wheel design, or they have a third-party certification. So all T Sportline wheels are TUV certified. And you're going to find some aftermarket companies will say they self-certified, but use your own discretion if you want to go off of a self-certification or a third-party certification. We actually send the wheels to Europe, and they're tested by TUV, and we have to revise the design until they can pass. So there's 3 main core types of wheel types: cast wheels, flow-formed wheels, and fully forged wheels. And as you go from cast to flow-formed to fully forged, the strength of the wheel goes up, and so does the price. So in simple terms, a cast wheel is liquid poured into a mold, and you form the wheel. The flow-formed wheel is you cast the face of the wheel, like I've shown here, and then you form or flow form the barrel of the wheel. So it's stronger than cast, but it's not fully forged. And then fully forged is when you form the wheel entirely. It's the strongest wheel, usually the lightest wheel too. Okay, one of the most common misknown details on Tesla wheels is how is range impacted by aero and weight. And if you walk away from here, the main thing I can tell you is aero is king. So there's a lot of talk out there. I got to get the lightest possible wheels for my car for the car, but to be honest, a couple of pounds of difference on a wheel is not going to be measurable from a range perspective. So a couple examples. The fastest cars on the planet, top fuel dragsters, 11,000 horsepower. They use Aero to stop. They deploy parachutes. It's phenomenal how much energy Aero can make a difference in. Same thing you want to be careful with. When you go lightweight, you're moving toward less and less strength. So there's a point of diminishing returns where you can go a little lighter than stock, but when you start to get ultralight, you lose strength, and then you run the risk of cracking or bending the wheels. So again, another example, an aircraft, when they have to land after they've taken off, they have to dump the fuel because it's too heavy and their structures aren't strong enough to handle landing with that kind of weight. And think about a Tesla. It's a heavy car, and you get to some point where the wheel is just too light and too thin to handle the torque and the stresses on a wheel. Okay, design language. I tried to find, not making fun of the Google build here, but there is something to be said about the taste of the wheel and how well does it fit the design language and look like it was meant to be on a Tesla. So this is a personal taste thing, but everything at Sportline is modeled internally with our own graphic or our own industrial designers that are Tesla owners, Tesla enthusiasts. We try to make everything so that it looks right and looks like it was intended to be on the car. That TSR is a brand new wheel, by the way, that we just are introducing at the Tesla Takeover today. So if you stop by our booth after this, you can see that wheel, brand new, just introduced today. Okay, so generally speaking, are all aftermarket parts safe and worthy? I've come up with maybe 5 or 6 questions you can ask yourself to really figure out if that's true or not. There are a lot of good aftermarket parts, from not just from Sportline, but from some other companies. Generally, what I say is it really for a Tesla? Has the product been engineered and designed and made for a Tesla? That's the first thing I look for. The second thing is the part within spec? Is it made for the Tesla load rating, for the Tesla usage, or is somebody trying to sell you a part that isn't really for your car? Does the company know anything about Teslas? So that's an obvious one. Are they Tesla owners? Do they sell just Tesla parts? Do they have a Tesla? That's something I would get a degree of comfort with if they're actually into the Teslas. Are you dealing with a reputable company, or just a guy on social media or girl on social media that is a dealer of all parts and trying to make a sale? Can you contact the company and get a timely response? So this is a good test. I go to a company online, email them, call them, see if they answer before you buy. Because if you need to get in touch with them and you can't, you're going to be stuck. I would take a look at their content too. Do they have videos? Do they have instructions? Can you see them actually interfacing with the parts? It's another good sign of somebody that really is on top of it. So recapping top concerns, we talked about the wheels and tires. After the presentation, if you come by the Sportline booth, happy to talk more, show you examples. The other one I want to make example of is steering wheels or yokes. So there are a lot of aftermarket yokes for Model 3s and Model Ys. And we have a couple here we've bought, and we've cut them apart. They look fine on one side, and then when you cut them apart to see what kind of frame is in them, it's very questionable. I think I've got a slide here. Yeah. So the Tesla factory steering wheel uses a 12 millimeter steel core all the way around it. Okay, and that's a NHTSA regulated structural part of the car. This is an example of an aftermarket yoke that we bought and cut open. Very thin frame with a pop rivet holding it together. So in the circumstances of an evasive move or in an accident, God forbid, something like that, you're relying on that. So I would be very cautious. These are things, if we go back, run through those top 6 questions and see if you're getting good quality parts. Then a couple of best practices. So very typically on Teslas, adding aftermarket carbon fiber accessories is awesome. A lot of people offer that stuff. I would always recommend using wax and grease remover to prep the surfaces. You want them clean. You can't have wax, you can't have polish, anything like that on the surfaces of the parts or the car, or the parts will probably not stick. And also an adhesion promoter. So these are things to help the tape actually activate. But for all Aero parts, you don't want them flying off when you're driving around. You don't want them to come loose. Lowering or lifting, again, you definitely need to get the car aligned. And then you need to recalibrate the cameras. So the ADAS, or the assisted safety measures in the Tesla, use the cameras, and that's all calibrated based on the height of the car. So after you do a lowering spring or a coilover kit, or you raise the vehicle, you need to align the tires, line the wheels, so you don't wear out the tires, and then you need to do the calibration, which just run through the settings on the screen. You can do the camera calibration at any point in time. The last thing I'll say is the PPF and rock guards or mud flaps, highly recommended. You're going to want to protect the paint on the car. These are very common. You can do anything from minor to full wraps or full coverages of PPF. but a good recommendation. Okay, so with that, I can open it up to any questions. Yes, sir. The stock ones. So the question was, Aero is king. And if Aero really is what you're after, it's going to be very difficult to beat the Tesla stock Aero covers. So let me go through the things that, from an Aero perspective, it's not just the cover, but it's the fitment. So if the tire moves outbound, like toward the edge, you're giving up on Aero. And then the width of the tire. So wider tires are extending the resistance against the wind.
Okay, and the other is about wraps. Or exactly. Talk about more about wraps. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. So from a wrapping and PPF perspective, you have the base car. It's the raw paint. There's nothing there. The very entry level would be a PPF, which is paint protection film. So it's typically offered in matte or gloss, and you can get a little bit, like on the front of the car, on the mirrors. You can do the front half of the car, or you can do an entire car. So these things you can go either from buying your own kits or come to a shop like ours and have it done professionally done. A lot of folks offer that. That would be PPF, and then one step up would be like color wrapping. If you want to change the color of the car, you're going to have color wraps. On top of that, it's recommended to do like a ceramic pro coating on the PPF or the wrap.
Any other questions?
Talking about the wheels and all that, but how about the next step, the tire? Do you have a preference? Tire?
Yeah, tires. Yes. So tires are in the same boat. If I go back here, from a load perspective, you got to have a tire that hits the load rating for the vehicle. And as far as whether you need foam or no foam, I would encourage you to Google that and see some third-party testing. I don't think it makes a big difference at all. I can't tell. I would challenge anybody who could tell me they could tell. There's Google. You can look at like Car and Driver tested with foam, without foam, and from a noise and vibration perspective, couldn't tell. So from functionally speaking, it's not the end of the world if you put a tire on with no film at all. You need the TPMS. You need to keep the tire pressure up. You need a tire that's rated for the car, not so much the foam. And then as far as the width goes, that's where you're going to start to impact range. If you put a wider tire on, just think about you're increasing the surface area that faces wind all the time, or air resistance. You're going to lose range.
Do you know of any common mods that end up voiding the warranty?
Yeah, I am very well versed in the voiding of warranty. So there is a federal law that prohibits an OEM manufacturer from denying warranty just because of aftermarket parts. The only way your warranty can be voided is if that part specifically causes the problem. So for instance, let's say you put aftermarket wheels on. It's illegal. It's a federal law that would prohibit a manufacturer from saying, I'm not going to give you warranty on the headlights. It has nothing to do with the wheels. So the warranty issue would have to be proven specifically related to that. This is a very common challenge that vehicle owners have, and it's really when you get down to like local dealers or different people, you're going to get different opinions. If you go to our website and you go to warranty, you can scroll down and see the Magnuson-Moss Act. It's a federal law. We kind of outline that there. SEMA, which is the Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association, they will help you if you have issues with a local dealer, but it has to be specifically related to it. So to void warranty, like if you put aftermarket brakes on, expect that they're not going to warranty those brakes, right? They're not there. So it'd have to be something one for one like that.
Okay, 2 more questions if anyone else has any. Okay.
it just poked my ear up that about wraps, and I've heard that wraps are hard to remove. If you remove it, do you end up with a bunch of adhesive problems, or has that changed over the years?
No, it's a good thing they're hard to remove because you have to pull them off. But generally speaking, no, it's not like pulling a sticker off where you have a lot of adhesive. Yeah, they're not adhesive. It's more of a surface contact attachment.
One more. Last question.
Better make it good. Outside of the yoke, are there any modifications you would recommend people stay away from?
That's a good question. So we do not advocate for any modifying of the Tesla software. I'm not interested in hacking the computer or trying to, tune up what Tesla has done. And prior to I spent 18 years of my life doing racing and performance parts for gas cars before I got into this. And we modified fuel injection and stuff like that. But the difference with Teslas is, first of all, I don't think there's much to gain. And second of all, when you start talking about, autopilot and full self-driving, I think you're getting into very dangerous territory if you're modifying or hacking the control system of the car. So that's the one area for us. It's totally hands off.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. Give it up for Brian Reese for T Sportline. Make sure you go visit their booth and load up on those custom wraps.
I forgot one thing, too. If you go by our booth, my shameless plug here, everybody is welcome to stop by, get this free T Sportline tote. There's a sticker pack in here. You can see Lerone up here in the front, one of our salespeople. Happy to give you guys a show special, 10% off, free shipping, free tumbler, free gloves. So come on over. Thanks, guys.